next topic is family structure and relationships. Some people believe that women should stay at home to focus on rearing children and keeping house rather than pursuing professional careers. For example, I was in a relationship for 2 years, and I pretty much had 2 jobs. I worked a full 8-hour shift at my regular job, and then I'd come home and I would have to cook dinner, do the dishes, clean the house, clean the bathrooms, clean up everything in the house, and that'd be another 2 hours. So I'd have like a full 10-hour day pretty much every day, and I'd come home. And my boyfriend at the time, his philosophy was the reason why he made more money, the reason why he didn't clean or anything like that is because he made more money than I did. But he worked half as hard as I did. He would work maybe 4 hours a day. He would be home for at least 4 hours before I got off of my job, and the house would be a complete mess. Beer bottles everywhere, clothes everywhere, and I'd have to come home, throw the beer bottles away, beer bottles that I didn't even drink.
This was his mess.
This was his mess, all of his mess. I'd have to come home and clean and pick it up because he wouldn't do it, and he would just say, oh, I'll do it later. No, bullshit. That's disrespectful. So I would just come home and clean it up because I would want it, It's not being done, obviously, he says, I have to clean it up because he brought home the bacon, and just, it was bullshit because I had 2 jobs.
He didn't have to worry about picking up after himself.
Even though I worked twice as hard as he did, he made more money than I am, so therefore he didn't have to clean.
He had control over your household because he did make more money, he did control the bills, he had money, which equals power.
Exactly.
And that's usually how it is for a lot of situations. I think more women deal with that double shift job.
And that's what men want. Men want the cookie cutter women. That's what they want. They want them to come home and make them dinner, and they just think it's right. They don't see anything wrong with that, and that's how his mentality was. Using that as an example is a perfect example because that's how a lot of men are. And it's not okay because...
And the root of it all is how we are all raised.
How he was raised, he's a complete mama's boy, which I don't understand. Well, actually, yeah, I do understand because she pretty much babied him all his life.
Did everything fine.
If he was too sick and hungover at his house, if he called his mom and asked him to bring him food, ask her to bring him food, she would do it. She would do it.
He's a mama's boy.
Yeah. And it's like, she's teaching him that too, so it's all right back to how he was being raised, and he totally was raised that way, and that's how a lot of, that's where it comes from, mama's boy, or, daddy's girl, or whatever. The mama takes care of the boy, and does everything for him, and, cleans his room, does everything for him, and it's like, the men don't have any responsibility to make their own food. They don't even know, My boyfriend now that I have, he didn't even learn how to make food until he was in college, until he was out of the house. He was forced to, fend for himself because...
Nuke and ramen.
Yeah, he didn't even know how. Like, he had to be forced to learn how because he was out of the house, so...
There was no woman there to help him.
But then again, that also goes back into division of chores. Girls are taught to do indoor chores like cleaning bathrooms, picking up, sweeping, vacuuming, laundry, picking up their own rooms.
And men are outside mowing the lawn and
pulling weeds
and stuff like that.
Yeah, doing all the manly chores.
Taking out the garbage and cleaning up the garage.
And then the whole saying is boys will be boys. If boys go out and get dirty or
when
go out and play
and they're all dirty, oh, boys will be boys.
But if a
girl gets dirty in her nice clean dress, oh my gosh, you're all dirty.
Yeah.
It's like
you're not supposed to do that.
It's not ladylike, exactly, and we're taught that way. And it's like, when we're kids, I think we should just be taught to be kids. We shouldn't be segregated. We should go out there and have fun the way we want to have fun. If we want to get dirty, and why not? We're there for fucking kids. Let them be people, you know?
Let them have fun. There's enough time that you grow up and have to work and have to deal with all this stuff. Why should we start them out young?
Exactly.
So sexism, I think the root of it all is that that's when it begins. Is the time that from the time that we are little, we are being taught to be sexist, not only towards each other, but you know,
in the home.
Yeah.
But I do know quite a few women that say that they would rather do it themselves than have a man do it because of the fact that they can't do it as well.
And that just goes back to, again, how they're raised, and women are taught to be perfectionists at cleaning, taught to do it
they don't
themselves.
clean it the right way. It's like, you missed a spot or something.
Well,
it's like,
not just that, but men are they're never really taught to clean.
Exactly.
So they really don't know how to do it in the correct way, if you understand. Except for me, I guess I am really the weird part of this whole conversation because I was raised to do 1/3 of all chores. I cook, I clean the house, I vacuum, I do dusting, I do laundry.
Is that a third? Is that a third of the chores? Though that sounded a lot more than a third of the chores.
Doesn't it
I run on
rotate?
it rotates.
Okay.
And I live on a farm,
Uh-huh.
a full running farm that needs to. It doesn't as much well as put money into the pocket as it takes out. But it's a full running farm. We sell eggs. It's a chicken farm. We have a lot of chickens to take care of. And this winter we lost the entire building through the snow. And even though my mother didn't help my dad and I as much, if it wasn't for the fact that when she was a little girl she broke her neck when she was doing rodeo kind of thing, and the horse bucked and she fell off and broke her neck. And so she's always had those problems ever since she was a little girl now. And if it wasn't for that, I'm pretty sure she would be right up on the roof putting the shingles onto the roof, which is a hard job. But she also got the shingles from where they were to where we were. And that's another hard job. And I'm 100% sure if it wasn't for her broken neck, she'd be doing just as much hard work. Plus, she also makes more money than my dad. So there's another thing. And she owns her own business, which my dad runs the finances just because she's a little bit better at it. She's not good with money. I'm sorry, but she's not good with money.
But in a lot of households, that's completely switched. Women are a lot better with money than men.
Yeah.
Because we're taught to be a lot more meticulous. We have to be perfect.
Yeah. But there's another thing is, even though my mom brings home the bacon and all that, what she really wants to be is a stay-at-home mom. She wants to stay home, be able to clean the house, do all that. She wanted to raise me from home and everything, but she's always had to work.
To make ends meet.
To make ends meet and everything. It wasn't until I was around 10 years old until my dad started making more money and my mom could stay back a little bit more. But then he lost his job when the economy fell. So my mom went right back to making the big bucks.
Are you an only child?
Yes, I am. And I don't see my mom anywhere near below my dad. In fact, I think she's above at the moment.
Really?
There are, I think nowadays, because culture is shifting, and that goes back to, throughout history, women achieving rights and all that stuff through the 3 waves and everything like that. Because culture is shifting, now we are seeing that women are starting to bring the bacon home. We are seeing women, it's still not equal, still not balanced, not even close, but we're starting to see it more often where women are making more money than men in certain situations, and you do occasionally see that there are house husbands. No longer is it the housewife, now you're starting to see house husbands.
And the only reason you see that is because the woman brings home more money than the man.
Which is outside the norm, which is what we don't see. It's not what we're used to.
Or he got laid off and she was able to maintain her job.